DJ PK, and it's time to welcome David Smoak back to the show, host on 365 Sports in Waco, Texas, covering the Baylor Bears. Our spring football tour takes us to Baylor. David, good morning.
How are we doing in Salt Lake City?
We are doing well. One thing we don't get to do, though, is watch a lot of spring football. Everybody's worried about the transfer portal and getting players poached and ripped off by other schools. Do you know as much about Baylor as you used to, or are you finding the coaches there are worried about poachings?
I was actually today doing a workout, and a trainer who's from Texas, who went to Texas A&M, said they're losing, and I mean this. This is someone who's all in on it, but losing more and more of the being able to watch somebody go from a redshirt freshman or a non-scholarship, or just watching them grow up, and you get attached to them a little bit because you know them. And now by next year, half the guys on your team are gone, and 2 or 3. Maybe another dozen or 2 are in, and that's when somebody who doesn't cover it like we do, that is a fan of the sport but is just kind of tired of it. I think there's a lot more out there than we think. I know that I don't dig into the depth chart like I have it in front of me every day. There's so much movement, and it is hard to keep up with, but I still love the game. Now the question is, can the powers that be get their you-know-what together? Because that's another problem. Not only the transfer portal, but everybody wants to argue about a turf war, about who gets what.
Well, one of the things that I don't think Baylor has to worry about, obviously the quarterback is back, and so are 4 O-line starters. I think Barrington, the kid from BYU, he's the only guy who doesn't return. So it looks like quarterback and offensive line, you've got many returning players there. That should be a big-time strength.
No question. And the offensive line, the last, they had that really good team in 21, but the offensive line has been kind of a hodgepodge of this and that. And what was interesting last year, they got off to that 2-4 start. They took Sidney Fugar and moved him from inside as a rotation player, put him out at left tackle, and boom. Just like that, it made everybody else on the offensive line better because he solidified what is that protection mode on the backside of Sawyer Robertson, big, monstrous kid that just all of a sudden it's weird how you just make a decision and it seems like it doesn't just help you at left tackle, but it helps you across the board with some other positions on the offensive line. No, they're in pretty good shape. They had to add, I think they've added 3 different edge rushers from other schools during the offseason, including getting one last week from a group of 5 school. But no, they were able to run the ball. They've got the alpha in Bryson Washington at running back, and then they've got the kind of the wear you down, or when you are worn down, they give it to Dustin Pendergrass, who's like just this ever-ready battery or whatever you would want to call it. But no, they feel good. The defense has to play a lot better in certain places. Not sure about the backside of it, but the offense with Sawyer Robertson has just completely given this team program just a different mentality. He's a guy that everybody loves him, and not to mention he's a really, really good football player.
You've got the quarterback and the O-line back. Are there any weak links at the other skill positions? Is there a big hole to fill, or is there just a lot of confidence in the offense?
No, they feel like they're going to be able to be very, very productive. But they did have one little setback, and it's a kid named Ashton Hopkins, a wide receiver that played at Texas State, who was a pretty good receiver for them last year. Their best receiver, undoubtedly, is Josh Cameron. He's the young man that started as a walk-on and then was, in some cases, a part of some All-American teams. Big, strong, physical, sneaky, fast. He's kind of a lot of people, guys, came after him in the offseason. I was told, and it's not like I asked Josh this, but I was told that there were numerous Power 5 schools that were coming after him, some in state that wanted to give him like $1 million. They were going to offer him to be able to play. He's gone from a non-scholarship to an All-American type candidate to a guy that now pretty much had people giving him, or at least offering him, a lot of money, but he stayed loyal to Baylor. They did lose Ashton Hawkins. Back to him, he was going to be a very big part of this, especially like a deep threat. A guy that can make some acrobatic catches. He was approved to come back by the NCAA. And then I think it's been about a month that all of a sudden he was then declared ineligible. Now, that means that he was not able to enter the draft, not that he would have been drafted, but that kind of was a little bit of a setback to their wide receiver room. But they do feel like there's some guys last year that didn't play much, but mainly because they had a pretty good wide receiver core that they feel like they can move up and step up, and I think they're going to be just fine. I think offensively, the only thing is protect your quarterback. Although they have Walker White, who transferred from Auburn, highly recruited high school player who was at Auburn, who Baylor plays like off the top of the season. So I think they feel really, really good across the board on offense.
Well, plus you got what's better than one Kobe? Two Kobes, and you got two Kobe transfers in Wilson and Prentice at receivers. So you got you got some transfers there that can have an opportunity to fill in.
Yeah, and of course Alabama. Anyone that was there, that they don't just recruit others. Then that doesn't mean they're all good, but they feel good about him. I think we've talked about this before. They never took advantage. After the 21 season, when they were so good, fifth in the country, they never took advantage of the transfer portal when it had first just opened up. They really just whiffed. Aranda felt like he wanted to trust his own roster. It was a huge mistake. Not that he's getting mad at him for being loyal, but it was a huge mistake. And they've slowly but surely the last couple of years been able to go pick and choose some guys that make sense. And they've done that even again during the offseason. Plus, there's guys who want to come to play at Baylor. One, because of Sawyer Robertson, the quarterback, if you're a wide receiver, he's among that list of the best returning quarterbacks in college football. So why not want to catch balls from him?
Is Dawson Pendergrass back? Because if he is, then that's loaded at running back. I mean, you got two guys who are 1,700 yards combined.
Yep. No, Bryson Washington, I saw state championships at a small school, really right outside Bryan College Station at Franklin High School. He's one of those that he has the ability to fit through a keyhole. Like it's weird. I always thought, and I remember back in the days, a lot of it's the blocking scheme or whatever, where you see certain backs at the 1 or 2 yard line, they go in untouched. When there's 22 people all sitting together, Bryson Washington has this unique ability to kind of go like Matrix, like he goes fluid and gets through small little creases, not just at the goal line, but also, if it's at the 35-yard line. He has the ability to fit through a keyhole. Dawson Pendergrass has the ability to make a new keyhole. He's got that power. He runs kind of like elbows and knees. And, back in the days, remember when you had pants that had knee pads? I don't even know if they wear them anymore. The knee pads flapping. He's kind of that guy. He looks sometimes unorthodox, but he's got sneak speed and he's got tremendous power. And he is a perfect offset to what Bryson Washington can do. And Bryson Washington is just an absolute, like a blue chip type alpha dog running back.
7 starters back on defense. You lost 3 linebackers in Jones, Randolph, Linton, but you hit the transfer portal. You got one from Fresno, one from Oregon, one from Florida International, and Thomas, all Big 12 linebacker returns. So you're going to have some new blood with a pretty good player returning.
Yeah, no, they do. They lost. They did lose. Like Matt Jones, the linebacker, was kind of the leader of that team, kind of a guy that was in and on every play, very quick. He was not at the level of what they had back with Bernard and Petrie, who are now getting their second pick contract in the NFL. But he was kind of the guy. They went into the one player they feel like they had to get, as I said, they had to get some guys off the edge. They had to be able to put pressure on the quarterback. They lost Garmin Randolph, who's in an NFL camp right now, but they went deep, 3 different edge rushers from FBS, from group of 5 schools, some of them very, very productive. I think offensively, and Aranda, remember now last year he took over the play calling. I think with the second year of Aranda now being able to do that again and getting players that he truly wants, that he thinks will fit what he does, what he should do all the time, whether he or not, they feel really good. The backside last year, they need to make some plays. LSU tore them up. Now, Nussmeier is a fantastic quarterback. LSU beat him up pretty good at the bowl game. It was a high-scoring game, and LSU just had better weapons against that secondary. There's a kid, Caden Jenkins, a junior, who was a freshman All-American. He made the freshman All-American team. I thought last year he just kind of was there. They need him. He was a turnover. He created a lot of turnovers 2 years ago, including a scoop and score for a touchdown in a game at UCF to turn that game around. I believe, are going to lose injury to Devin Turner, who's a starting strong safety. They feel like he had a chance to be an all-conference type player. I believe he might be out for an extended amount of time. That hurts them. But overall, just because it's another year of a team, sometimes you get guys coming back, but they weren't very good. I think this year the guys coming back were good. They were just young and raw in the secondary, and I think they've improved on that with a couple of additions there too.
5 of the top 10 tacklers were safeties. Have they sorted themselves out, or is that still a battle?
I think it's very fluid. I think their secondary is very fluid. I think that what they wish they could do is have like 8 to 9 guys, right? They're just constantly in rotation. But I think that's still kind of the defensive front. They got to be careful there. They added a big kid from LSU, from Tulane, a big like fire hydrant that you have to have in that defensive Miranda runs with that plug in the middle. But I do think that the weakness on defense is going to be the younger defensive backs who were, again, beaten up in that bowl game by LSU based on people running free. Are they a year wiser with the experience? Or are they going to still have the same problems because they're still the same player they were as that season ended?
I'm going to try to say it. I think it was from Texas A&M. Talmanau Pepe.
Yeah, him. Yeah.
380 pounds.
Yep.
380 pounds in the middle. 6'3", 380. Yep. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, if you'll remember, it was Siaki Ika was at LSU. And Baylor got him to transfer from LSU. Aranda had known him a little bit because of the fact he had been at LSU. I don't think he was there when that was Siaki might have been there when Ika was actually recruited at LSU with Orgeron. And they got him to move over, and he gave them what they needed. Now, one of the biggest issues there is that Brendan Bennett is a local kid. He played down in Killeen High School, Ellison High School, which is down near Fort Hood, about an hour south of Waco. He transferred to Florida. So they lost him. Dave Roberts, who's now at the University of Florida, recruited him when he was out of high school. He was a guy that if he was there, he would be their starter. They need bodies inside. No, I don't even care if you're like Georgia, Alabama, Texas, whatever. They're always even still looking for the dudes inside because that's really where, to me, the games are won. And Baylor win the portal, get the bid, 380. Now, the biggest concern, Ika was I think he made a couple of fringe All-American teams at Baylor. The problem with that is how many snaps can they go? I mean, think about it. How many snaps can he go a series or two? Does he need a breather? So that's one of the biggest concerns when you have a big guy like that who can maybe eat up the middle of or take up bodies of space, but at the same time, how many snaps can he play? So you got to have 2 or 3 of those. But he is when you look at him, he looks bigger than what even you think at about 365 or 380. Yep.
You're not that far away from, you are, but you aren't that far away from Texas Tech. There's been a lot made about all the oil money flowing through that program. Now, Baylor, it seems like Robertson's just a huge drawing card. If you don't have the most money, if you hit on the right quarterback, does it matter that you don't have the most money? What is the What is the feeling as they build this Baylor program?
I mentioned that they didn't take advantage in 21 success of the portal. Then they have started to do a much better job of that. They really have. Their NIL was also behind. Now, they'll tell me, no, it wasn't. No, it was. I think what Baylor did when really it started to pick up, I don't know if it was 21 or whatever, but they were not ready. Then they started a collective that has gotten very, very smart. Here's the key, 22, let's see. At the end of the 23 season, when they struggled, Caden Jenkins, I mentioned, he was like a freshman All-American. People came at him. Baylor was able to keep him happy. I'm not saying they threw a lot of money at it, but they threw it at him because they couldn't afford to lose him in the first place. They didn't have a lot in the backside of their defense in the secondary. But they were able to retain him. And then you saw this I don't know if it was on Twitter or whatever it was, like, hey, I'm committed. Well, yeah, because he was starting to get more money. Baylor stepped up with their NIL. Then they stepped up again. There's no question. Remember, DeQuan Finn was going to be their starting quarterback last year out of Toledo. They paid him some good nickel, but he didn't work out. He got injured early, but also Sawyer, was just a matter of time. So Sawyer was probably just making, whatever you get to stay on the roster, and they had to step up and get him. Because I promise you, if he hit the free agent market, and I hate even saying that in college athletics, but if he hit the market, he would have gotten paid a ton of money. I think Baylor's NIL collective, GXG, took care of him. But the Texas Tech thing, you hear about the billionaire oil, and they have more than one. Jolie Campbell gets a lot of the attention. They have many of them. I think what Texas Tech finally did was, listen, you guys realize this. They've had some pretty good teams. They've had some really good quarterbacks. Mahomes, like that stretch with Mahomes, they didn't do anything. I think they had one winning season with Patrick Mahomes at quarterback because the defense was so awful. And Tech just finally said, you know what? We're able to do this. We have the money. They had some billionaires or whoever step up, and other donors and alums too. And they have never won the Big 12 championship. The Big 12 has been in existence since 1996. Now, they had that team in 2008 with Graham Harrell, who beat Texas, but then got blown out by OU when all three of those teams were really, really good. They have not won a Big 12 championship. Baylor won 3 in, 2013, 14, and 21. They played at 2 other championship games. Other TCUs played for a national title. I'm talking about in the state of Texas, here in the state of Texas. So they finally just said, we're going to go build this thing. We're going to go build it. Joey McGuire's recruiting better, but they're also going to build it by making sure they maintain what they have and going out and getting what they can. Now, Texas Tech fans get a little bit sensitive to that. They get a little bit sensitive, but so what? If you can do it, do it. It doesn't matter how you acquire the talent. Look, but it's not like Ohio State or Texas or Georgia or Alabama aren't doing it. Don't feel bad because you're able to use the ML money or have the financial support. Take advantage of it. The question is, if they put it and go almost all in like they have the last couple of years and it doesn't pay off, then what? What do? Do you just keep knocking on the door, or do you try to do something a little bit different? Joey McGuire, I know him incredibly well from the time he was a high school coach up in the Dallas area. Then he was at Baylor. His personality has given that program a lift. And so it's easy to want to do something for him because you believe in him. However, this is year, 4 for him, so they need to see more than 8-5 or 8-4 regular season. They need to see success. They need to see Texas Tech play for a Big 12 championship, maybe win it. That's what they need, and that's why they're so all in what they're doing.
David, as always, we appreciate the energy. Way to bring it.
Thank you, buddy. Good to DJ PK. You guys be good. Look forward to. Hey, I know. What's he going to bring Utah, huh? Is there a lot of excitement because they have a guy that's healthy and playing quarterback?
Yes, absolutely. No question about that.
I think there's a lot of curiosity, too, because the new quarterback and the new offensive coordinator are new to us, but they aren't new to each other. So how much can they just hit the ground running, get everybody else up to speed, and those two already get it?
Wow, it's awesome. That I just know, and we've had Coach Whittingham on and others too, but that had to be kind of, not, this sounds bad, the word hostage, but it's almost like you're held hostage because you respect everything that Cam brought to that program, and my goodness, what they could have accomplished if he stayed healthy. But it had to be almost week in and week out where you just never knew, right? And then by that time, it just kind of blew up in your face. Not him, but just because of you wanted to give him the respect and opportunity. And I look forward to, I think Utah, one of my co-hosts, Paul Catalina, has said he feels like Utah's going to be the team that bounces back the most in the Big 12 this year. He loves Dampier quarterback, and also we just love what Whittingham does in the first place.
David, we appreciate it. We'll talk to you again when the season gets closer.
Thank you, guys. Yes, sir. Can't wait to see both of you and Jake, all of you guys. Hope we'll see some of you at Big 12 Media Days in early July.
He's David Smoak. He's the host of On 365 Sports, Waco, Texas, covering the Baylor Bears.
It's a shame that Texas Tech has never won a Big 12 title because I can tell you, man, if your team has won a Big 12 title, it's the best.
I wondered where that was going.
It is simply the best.
Yak, is that the vacation rust right there that I didn't see where that was going right away?
I would understand to have your team win the Big 12 football championship. So.
I would not understand.
No. I mean,
pretty happy when Rocky Long gave us a little taste of glory. Those days are gone, but it was fun.
I mean, it is the sweetest taste of all.
This is really the first time he's ever pulled this out on us.
It's manna from the heavens.
Well, this specifically, but he has basked in the Sun Devil globe before.
I mean, I can't explain it. And I'm talking to people who have no idea, so how could they understand it?
DJ and PK, when we come back, everything you missed in this show, next. Stay with us.